It was the week before Halloween, and the air smelled like chimney smoke and crunchy leaves. Down on Brambleberry Farm, the pumpkins huddled together in the field, orange faces glowing under the setting sun. "We've heard whispers," said Pickle, the plumpest of the patch. "The harvest is nigh, the carving is close." The pumpkins trembled. Some dreaded the spoon, others feared the candle. "We need a hero," piped up a tiny squash with freckles. "We need Spadger Tummidge." Spadger, the jaunty Scarecrow with a watermelon grin, button eyes full of mischief, and a belt that bore his name like a badge of honor, stood proudly on his crooked pole nearby. When the pumpkins called, he tilted his hat and listened. He clambered down with a creak of stuffing and a flap of his patchy coat. "Fear not, me round-bottomed chums," he declared. "We shall resist the great scooping. No more pie, no more porch patrol. It's time to roll, literally." With Carswell, the crow squawking directions, Spadger led the pumpkin rebellion. By morning, the field was empty. The pumpkins had vanished. Farmer Wigglesworth stared in disbelief at the bare patch. "Me pumpkins! Vanished! Not a gourd to be seen!" The village was in uproar. "Where are the pumpkins for our lanterns?" cried the children. "What will light our Halloween?" Meanwhile, deep in the Wibberley woods, the pumpkins gathered beneath curling branches and dappled moonlight. They tried their best not to be pumpkins. They held meetings. They sang protest songs. They even tried knitting, but something felt off. One evening, with fireflies blinking gently overhead, the older pumpkins sat with the younger sprouts tucked close. The wind carried a hush. "Tell us the truth," whispered a seedling. "What was it really like, being out there?" Clumpy, once a proud porch pumpkin, stared into the moss. "I don't feel glowy anymore," he said. "Millie used to light me every evening. That candle tickled something inside me. Not heat, something happy. Now I'm just cold and quiet." "I miss the laughter," sniffled Pickle softly. "I sat next to a boy in a banana costume. He gave me a name, Splot, and said I was his sidekick. We had purpose back then. We made people smile. A stillness settled among them. The kind of quiet that comes when someone finally says what everyone else has felt." Spadger sat nearby on the mossy log, frowning into his chipped tin teacup. "Seems we might have run a little too far from the very thing that gave you meaning," he murmured. "Sometimes we don't glow less because we're forgotten, but because we're not where we're meant to shine." That night, the pumpkins made their decision. So on the night of Halloween, as the moon climbed high and the stars blinked wide, the villagers opened their doors to find rows and rows of pumpkins smiling from their steps, every one of them perfectly placed, warm and bright. Every child had a lantern. Every porch had a glow. From the edge of the woods, half-shadowed beneath a twisted oak, Spadger watched the village square, tattered hat in hand, unseen and silent. No one knew quite what to say until little Tilly Merriweather tiptoed forward, her lantern flickering in her mittened hands. She looked toward the trees, eyes fixed on something only she could see. "These pumpkins," she said softly, "weren't meant to hide. They were meant to shine, to light the way for stories, costumes, and laughter. Halloween isn't about fear. It's about togetherness. It's about being seen." The townsfolk stilled. Farmer Wigglesworth wept softly into his mustache and promised henceforth to thank every pumpkin, pie-bound or lantern-lit. And from that day on, no gourd was ever carved without gratitude. The pumpkins had found their purpose, and though few noticed the motionless figure watching from the tree line, Spadger Tummidge had quietly become a legend. Every year, a small button-eyed scarecrow lantern sits proudly in the center of town, watching quietly with a heart full of hay and a smile stitched into memory.